So I'm here with Scott Scroggin, the Strategic Initiatives Director of ConnectWise here at IT Nation. I want to ask you a couple questions on just the M&A landscape for MSPs, the macro, from a macro perspective, the environment, how you see things, maybe where things going now with valuation or like acquiring companies that have AI capabilities, cloud and cybersecurity, things of that such. But just in the beginning, like what's your perspective of just the macro environment with deals that's being done, and also how you see those emerging technologies like coming into play within these transactions?
Yeah, Jamar, thanks for having me. And it's been a great event. We had a really interesting session yesterday, the State of M&A. I think we had 4 solid panelists that spoke to us about the macro state, which kind of like the State of the Union address, the state of the union is positive right now. It's been very profitable, highly profitable years, shows the data for MSPs. Valuations are high and have continued to be high. Certainly some belief that it's not going to continue forever, but with interest rates coming down, the belief is that once things kind of settle down from some of the turmoil maybe around tariffs and other challenges, we've got people better understanding of the one big beautiful bill and some of the things that are going to happen there, that it can be a net positive going forward once that figures out. The M&A activity still continues to be strong. There's a lower number of high quality partners to be acquired. I use the term partners as in MSPs, and there's a definitely high number of qualified buyers. That's one thing we've seen, are the platforms coming in, the sophisticated investment bankers, private equity platforms, whatever the case is. So that creates scarcity for some. Not everybody certainly going to be acquired by private equity, so they have to find alternatives to that. Moving on to the other part of your question, I think is, while valuations are, continue to stay high, there's a little bit of uncertainty as to AI and hyper-automation and the impact that's going to have. One opportunity it creates are for some of the smaller MSPs who are very nimble and quick to learn how they can use AI, put on more of a business consultancy or business solutions hat, and really help their clients. It doesn't mean they want to be acquired, but they can certainly increase their valuation by doing that as opposed to maybe core infrastructure. We're certainly seeing the larger players make larger investments in AI because that's going to be a key part of what they do going forward, both to internally to improve effectiveness and efficiency and upskilling of their own employees, but certainly externally as they find the right solutions. Many times those are going to be vertical, as we find the larger MSPs tend to be less horizontal and more verticalized, and therefore whether it's a line of business application or it's other forms of simply process improvement that they know how to go out and can replicate across the clients to really see higher margins in what they're doing. So collectively, positivity and opportunity is how I'd sum that up.
Awesome. You guys have, in your peer group, you have a lot of smaller MSPs. And now, with the industry going to being more of a solution provider than just a break fix or IT kind of guy. How do you see that coming together in the peer group with the smaller guys being able to be a solution provider? Yeah,
the timing of your question is very appropriate because we have most people look at the evolved peer groups. They think of simply the peer groups, but we've had for some time 3 tiers of peer groups within that, and the average size MSP in our peer groups collectively is right around $7 million of revenue. We do have a tier of 3 groups that are much larger. We call them our empire builders, and one group of that is entirely private equity backed. But you asked the question about the smaller companies. Just this event, we rolled out really what is the third time we've done this. It goes all the way back to 2007. We offered what we called at that time Evolve 1. And it was an entirely online program, entirely virtual, because a smaller company, say $750,000 to $1.5 million in revenue, is really not equipped to travel to 2-day meetings 4 times a year. So we rolled out at this meeting, our event, the restart. We brought in a new leader. We've redesigned the curriculum. We call it Evolve Essentials.
Okay.
And it's really an 18-month curriculum. We also rolled out a new benchmarking tool. Benchmarking is so critical, whether you are in the traditional peer groups or you're in our new Evolve Essentials, to simply know, to provide some context of where am I relative to my group or my industry. What is it possible to even do? Sometimes you don't even know what's possible until you see what others are doing. So if you take the new Evolve Essentials peer groups with a facilitator and online, you marry it with the Benchmarking Essentials toolkit and other resources we have, that's how we're going to serve the smaller, again, that's $750,000 to $1.5 million MSP, because getting over that $1 million barrier is so critical. Once we get them over that barrier, once we show them the growth, how to build the growth engine, then they can continue to scale on into our other groups.
Awesome. So it sounds like, overall, from a macro perspective, like you said, the valuations are good right now, and then the smaller guys have some support, some tools and assistance,
Right.
some resources to kind of help, take advantage or to lean into this where the industry is going. So that's good news. Do you have any lasting thoughts that you would like to share?
My lasting thoughts are really, kind of back to the small groups, back to valuations. People have to start planning and preparing early. That's why we have the IT Nation Grow program. That program meets quarterly. It's focused on business transition. It's focused on helping people understand that the number one comment we get is, I didn't know what I didn't know. And they're going to have a business transition or a transaction typically one time in their life. And many times they're going to be sitting across the table from somebody who has done it multiple times. So they can be at a disadvantage, and we simply want to help them be in as positive a situation as they are when they go through that. They have to realize in many cases that the reason, say for example, the Evolve Essentials is when you start doing valuation multiples on an EBITDA number, that people have underestimated what that valuation is really going to be. By the time they maybe split it with a partner, by the time they split it with the government, by the time they have to pay advisors, that net number is not as high as they'd like it to be, and for many of them, that's going to fund their retirement. So unfortunately, we get some stories of partners who don't end up in as positive a place as they like to be, and that's what we're all about, is helping our partners through the GROW program, through the Evolve program, and through communities like the IT Nation to have positive outcomes in their lives and their futures, and to help build the legacies that they want to build.
Sounds like a great resource, man, to have.
Thank you. Thank you.
Scott,
We enjoy it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. So, but that's good. Setting those expectations, because a lot of guys think they're going to, retire off, get a yacht, buy a couple Lamborghinis or something. And like you said, with all of the fees or cost that costs,
Yeah.
they come along with doing the transaction.
You bet.
Yeah.
With peer groups comes accountability. Owners started businesses in many cases because they want to get up and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And putting them in a peer group help put some bumpers on what they're doing, and can really help direct them in a better, more effective way. And that's what we're all about.
Awesome, man. Scott, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Once
Jamar,
again,
thank
Scott,
you.
the Strategic Initiatives Director at ConnectWise.
Thank you.
My pleasure.